Imagine the most herky-jerky, squish the person next to you wooden roller coaster that you've ever been on. Remember how it knocked you around like a pair of shoes in a dryer? How it took fucking forever to get through the line? And then by the time you finally got off the damn thing, the corn dog cart had long since moved on, probably all the way to Storybook Forest. Remember that? We'll combine it with hockey. No, that's not a pretend game from Storybook Forest. It's NHL Stanley Cup for the Super Nintendo. So my, what beautiful Mode 7 you have, Super Nintendo. See, that's what a lot of developers said back in the day. Everyone was all excited about Mode 7, but rightfully so. I mean, it was technically impressive. It looked cool. I mean, at least in small doses, it looked cool. And it enabled some great games to be created. Mario Kart, F-Zero, Star Fox, NHL Stanley Cup. All right, so maybe this game doesn't quite belong in that conversation. But I'll tell you what, though. Yesterday I reviewed NFL Football for the Super Nintendo, which is another Mode 7 sports game for the Super Nintendo, only freaking terrible. And this game doesn't belong in that conversation either. I mean, it may abuse Mode 7. It may be visually nauseating. But this time you'll throw up and have fun, like a model at an after party. So, I guess the best way to describe this, other than really bizarre, it's a 16-bit hockey game, but from an on-ice perspective, that kind of plays like air hockey a little bit, and it also looks like you've been tied to a merry-go-round by the neighborhood bully. Not that I'd know what that looks like. Point is, Stanley Cup seems like a weird idea that's about 20 years ahead of its time. It tried to fundamentally change the traditional perspective of hockey games, which is admirable. Only problem was, Mode 7 wasn't quite the technology to make that happen. Only thing this changed is my pants, because I threw up on them. So the thing about Mode 7 is that there's a lot of spinning, which that was half the point. Oh, look, the screen can spin now. It's like we're in 3D space, which is a cool technical thing, but not always applicable to certain gameplay. Sports games in particular. I mean, every time there's a change in possession, the entire screen spins around. It's just constantly spinning. And that's because possession changes all the time in hockey. Obviously, it's a dizzying experience at times. Like, literally very dizzying. But again, I wouldn't lump this one in there with the bad Mode 7 sports games, simply because this one, despite all of its faults and the spinning, this one's actually a lot of fun and impressive too. I mean, just in terms of like core gameplay elements and how it fundamentally operates, it actually feels kind of modern. I mean, you're looking up the ice, you're scanning the crease for open teammates. Obviously, the tech isn't quite there yet, but the experience is closer than you'd think. Also, Gretzky and Mario are also close to unstoppable. So, more fun than you're probably expecting, and in terms of its basic mechanics, it has a surprisingly modern feel, but it's obviously got problems too, even if you set aside the spinning, which is going to be hard to do, because holy crap, is there a lot of spinning. It's like, it runs kind of choppy. It's tough to see the puck at times. Actually, the gameplay has this really strange, kind of floaty feel. Like I said, it's almost like air hockey. Like everything's gliding on something. But it's got the NHL license, so you have all the teams. That's a good thing. No player names, but you've got the Nordiques and the Whalers. See, that's what I'm talking about. Those are hockey teams. And that's gotta be Gretzky. Anyway, you look at a game like this, just spinning all over the place, looking like what I'm assuming everything looks like to Snoop Dogg. And you wonder why I made a Snoop Dogg reference in a hockey review. I have no idea. That's probably two very different demographics. Point is, the game doesn't look like it's going to be a very enjoyable experience. And although it's not very enjoyable, it is kind of enjoyable. It's got decent graphics and sound. It's got some forward-thinking mechanics. Lemieux is a monster. Hey, great drinking game too. Play with your friends. See who throws up first. Loser cleans the carpet in NHL Stanley Cup for the Super Nintendo. Actually, I wouldn't recommend throwing up on your carpet.